Okay, I'm here with John and Doug at Bitter and Esters in Brooklyn, New York. One of our local homebrew shops. This is actually my first time here. We're here for a special event called Mystery Brews. So I'll let John tell you a little bit about what brought me here and a little bit about the event because it's pretty cool.
Well, we were approached by Perrier Water to brew a beer with Perrier, and they didn't want anyone to know before they tasted it what it was going to be. So we made 16 gallons of an Irish Red and made it with Perrier water. And then we had everyone taste it and then made the big reveal saying, it was made with Perrier water. And it came out delicious. It was really, really good.
Fantastic.
All right, so getting to more about the store, again, since this is my first time at Bitter and Esters. So can you just tell us a little bit about the history when you opened and what's been the overall acceptance of the store since you guys opened?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've been here for about 2 years now. It's been fantastic. We've met so many fantastic people. We've learned that the homebrew community, I think, loves us and loves what they do. So we're just trying to help encourage that and keep everybody brewing.
And we love them.
Well, we absolutely love them.
Well, John, can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do here? Because, I mean, a lot of New York City homebrewers know about Brooklyn Homebrew, but you guys are a little bit different. You have classes and other stuff. Can you just tell us about some of the stuff you do here beyond just being a store?
Sure. Well, we are a full-service homebrew supply shop, so we have everything you need as far as brewing beer at home, equipment and ingredients and all that stuff. But we are a classroom space. We have a nice space in the back. We do beginning classes about 3 or 4 times a week. We do advanced classes in yeast, hops, malt, and we're going to be doing a water class. We also have a class called Brew Like a Pro, where breweries come in and teach you about their specific beer. So it's a master class, and we get big breweries. We've had Lagunitas, we have Sierra Nevada, we're going to have, coming up, is going to be Victory. They're going to make Prima Pills on our system.
Very nice.
And what our system actually is a brew on premises. We're the only ones in New York City that has a brew on premises where you can actually brew your beer here. You make a 15-gallon batch. You don't need to know how to brew beer. We walk you through it. Or if you are an advanced brewer, we have an all-grain Herm system where you can make really kick-ass beers. So we are a place where you can brew beer here, and we do the cleaning. Big selling point. You come back after it's fermented. We have a perfect fermentation room for temperature. You come back and you, after it's fermented, and you bottle your beer here and you take it home. So it's really a lot of fun. And by the way, we actually are friends with Brooklyn Homebrew, and we love anybody that's promoting brewing in New York. So
absolutely,
we're actually all about it.
Right. Now, that was Doug. So a question for you.
Yeah.
I heard you talking before about a Nugget Nectar clone, which is one of my favorite beers. So can you talk about, now you've gotten a glimpse at the palates of New York homebrewers. Like,
sure.
What is it like to be a New York homebrewer? What do we like brewing based on what you guys have seen over the past couple of years? What are people coming in here for?
IPA.
I actually think I think New York City homebrewers are probably some of the most creative and interesting homebrewers out there in the world. For a lot of reasons. One, I think it comes down to physical constraints. New York City homebrewers have to live in tiny places and do awesome shit within those tiny places.
They do.
A lot of homebrewers that I know love IPAs, but they also love everything else. We've had people come in talking about sorghum beers, Gruit's, freaking everybody loves making ciders this time of year. Grafts, which is the cider beer, and
we've had
just like everything.
Ghost. A lot of people making Ghost beers.
Oh yeah, the goo with the
Ghost.
Ghost.
Salt.
Right?
The
Yeah,
salt
I know.
beer, salt
Salty.
and coriander beer.
But it's all over the place. I don't think there's anything that really dominates New York City, and I think it really comes out in the homebrewers, homebrew clubs and homebrew competitions that you see in the city. You go to a competition, there's a bunch of IPAs, but they're the one that won our competition was Hibiscus IPA. It was awesome. And there was one that had all kinds of crazy technical things because he actually has space to do crazy shit, so he does crazy shit. That's what I like about New York City, is when people have the means, they do everything they can.
I think sometimes limitations will make you more creative. When you have to work within a space, you are going to do the best you can. And the coolest thing about owning a homebrew shop is that we get the beers. They come in and they say, you have to try this beer. We just had one of the best pumpkin ales ever. One of our clients brought in a pumpkin ale. It was just kick-ass. It was really good. So, the homebrewers are awesome.
All right. And one question I can't not ask you guys, I guess.
Sure.
You know, Doug, you can go first. What's your history with homebrewing? What brought you to open the shop?
I started as a winemaker, and I think pretty much everybody who knows me knows that at this point. I've been making wine for about 8.5 years now, ish, something like that. And so everything I approach I don't care so much about time. Brewers are always very anxious to do stuff fast. And I'm like, let it go another month. Like, what's a month? It doesn't really matter. And so I've been brewing for about 4.5 years, and I like brewing shit that's experimental. I don't like brewing the same thing twice unless I've really hit on something amazing and I do it again. John, on the other hand, has a different story.
So what's your story?
I've been brewing since '91, so I've been
nice.
brewing a long time. Yeah, since I was 4 years old, and I like European styles. I am a bit of a traditionalist. I like my beers to be well crafted, well balanced, quaffable. I believe in beer being something that we sit around and clink and drink and have good times and maybe get lucky at the end of the night. So that, and then another beer. So we do, we're kind of yin and yang in that way. I love Doug's experimental beers. I love the fact that he throws, shit to the wind. And I am a little bit more cautious, what I love about brewing really is the entire process. I love the fermentation. I love the beer being made part. I mean, brew day is my favorite day, and drink day is my favorite day. I was out to dinner with a friend of mine just recently. I haven't seen him in about 8 years. And the shop's been open about 2.5 years, and we went out together and I ordered a beer. And he was like, working with beer every day, you still order beer? And I'm like, well, I still love beer. And that's the best part about it. And I love seeing people brew beer. I really do. I love tasting their beers. Beer. I'm like Homer Simpson. Beer.
So one last question, I guess, wrap this up. A lot of articles now are talking about the future of beer. Now that we're seeing such a rapid growth of homebrewing and craft beer, like where do we see craft beer going in that with today's economy and everything? So, like, where do you see homebrewing, especially in New York City, going now that there's so many homebrewers? Like every time I turn around, I meet another person who brews beer also. So,
where's homebrewing going?
Yeah, like where's homebrewing going? From your perspective, like where is homebrewing, especially in New York City, going now?
Where isn't homebrewing going? Like, I mean, homebrewers look at something and they think, man, I could brew that, or brew in that, or brew with that, or make that into a brew sculpture, or I don't know, whatever it is that homebrewers do. And like, where isn't it going? And a lot of them are thinking about turning pro. And I think when you look at the market and you start putting together your business plan, it becomes very daunting. But it's going to come down to everybody making their own beer or buying their beer from somebody who makes it next door. Like, it's just going to become super hyper local across the country and here, probably.
We need more beer.
We need more beer.
There isn't enough beer.
It's been around for 5,000 years.
And we need more of it. And I see, I would love to see homebrewers and people who are really into craft beer. Kind of like homebrewers are into craft beer, but a lot of craft people don't know that much about brewing. So I would like to see the craft people brew more and understand what
So I guess you guys
with
agree with my motto that every craft beer enthusiast should brew at least once.
Oh, they should brew all the time. I mean, drink.
Everybody should make their own beer.
Yeah, everyone should make their own beer, but they should also drink beer. I still drink beer from breweries.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
why we have the beer swap.
They should do it at Bitter, like get their start at Bitter and Esters.
They should get their start at Bitter and Esters.
They should just get
bitternesters.com.
started, honnly.
Yeah.
And then
however they
Bitter
can.
Esters
Yeah.
when they can.
All right.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.